Lynn.
Samantha.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Good Vibes FC. I'm Sam Lewis, coming to you from the Women's Game World Headquarters in sunny, warm Vermont. And I'm joined by history maker, record breaker, the greatest goal scorer in the history of the National Women's Soccer League, Lynn Williams.
Hello, everyone. I am Lynn, and I'm here in New Jersey. Thank you so much. That was so sweet. What? Did you make that yourself?
I made this today. If you're just listening to this, I'm showing Lynn a Funfetti cake that I baked, not only because she scored 79 goals and broke the record for the NWSL, but also because it is her birthday.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. First of all, are you going to ship it to me?
No, I was going to cut myself a slice and eat it during this episode.
Okay, can you take a bite from me right now so I can just live through your taste buds?
If you are listening to this on audio, you probably want to go get the YouTube because I'm just going to dig right in, over here in the corner.
Do you have a favorite cake?
You know it's Funfetti. Oops. I made a little slop.
Yeah, get it in there. Is it so good?
Yeah.
I'm jealous. My mom sent me a cake, though, so I'm going to have a cake later today, and I'm very excited about it.
Well, Lynn, I know that I did not send you a cake, but I am eating cake in your honor. One, I'm so proud of you. This is the coolest thing ever that you are the record goal scorer in the NWSL, and also you're 31 years old.
I know. It's crazy. All the numbers just keep going up and up and up.
79, 80, 81, 82.
31, 32. That's how it goes, I guess.
What are you doing for your birthday?
This podcast, and me and Marley are going to have some sushi, and we are traveling as a team to the Bay.
Nice.
So a lot of soccering during the birthdays, which I feel like if anybody has a summer birthday, they know exactly how that feels. You kind of just say, yeah, I'm going to celebrate with the team on the road away from my family. So nothing really exciting, but like this podcast is the most exciting. So yeah, I guess.
Well, I'm so glad that I get to celebrate with you, Lynn. And also you're going to the Bay. So will you be seeing your family this weekend at your game?
I will. I'm so excited to see everybody. Everybody's coming. They've been attacking me about tickets. So hopefully I get enough. Yeah, I'm like really excited to see my family and go to California. I was going to say, I feel like I haven't been in a long time, but we were just in San Diego.
So. Oh, well, that's amazing. So you have an exciting birthday week planned.
Yep.
Nobody asked, but I've been doing a lot of yard work lately.
What have you been planning?
Pat and I are building a fire pit.
Wow.
We dug up that dirt. We leveled it. Yeah. We tamped it down. We got 40 bags of gravel, dumped it in there, and then edged the outside with bricks. And now we're building the little fire pit thingy, and we got chairs.
Who taught you how to do that?
We looked it up on a DIY website.
Was there any mistakes where you had to go back and fix it? Or was it pretty seamless?
Well, I'll send you a picture of the back. Like, we thought it was really level and like perfectly round. And like the back is definitely a little bit wonky. But there's like some tree roots back there. So like it's definitely not perfect. But honestly, it's pretty good for like a handmade thing.
Job. DIY.
Exactly.
A do-it-yourself.
Exactly.
Job, if you will.
So it's pretty freaking good if you ask me.
I'm so proud of you. I can't wait to come try it out.
I know, and we can make marshmallows.
I love that. And s'mores.
Exactly. I love it too. And then we'll have probably not some leftover Funfetti cake, but...
No, that's definitely going to be gone.
It's going to be gone probably by the end of this podcast. Okay, everybody. Enough jibber jabber. Today on the podcast, we had another crazy NWSL weekend with Lynn Williams as the headliner, which is exactly what we like to see. The WSL ended in wild fashion with Emma Hayes heading west with a trophy in tow. Plus, we preview the upcoming weekend of games, including the Champions League final. And we have a question from Susie D to discuss soccer player weddings. I think we might know somebody who might know something about that.
Yeah, me. I'm doing that. That's another thing that I'm doing this weekend is I'm having a bridal shower with my family. So I'm actually really excited about that as well, even though I'm not really sure what a bridal shower even really is.
I think you just get showered with love and gifts from all the ladies and lads in your life.
Yeah, I know. I'm like very excited. Like I'm going to see my grandma and my aunts and my mom and my cousins. Like it's going to be so fun. But I just feel like it's just like another thing that I'm like, what? Huh?
Yeah,
I accept.
I know what you mean.
I'm doing.
Yeah, beautiful. It'll be. I have the invite right here, and it looks like you guys might be having a little cocktail or two.
A little cocktail or two.
A
Yeah.
little cocktail
Except
or
you're
two.
not coming because you hate me.
I am not coming. I apologize.
It's okay. It's far.
I will be at both weddings.
Yes.
So before we get to all of that, we are the self-anointed Beavis and Butthead of women's soccer because this weekend was cool. I was so dreading having to do that, but I hope people get a good little chuckle out of it. Okay, first things first, your new all-time NWSL leading goal scorer with 79 goals in all competitions, Lynn freaking Williams. Let's go. Lynn, before we get into the goal and the rest of your game, how do you feel?
I don't know. Like, I feel like, you know me, like, I don't really keep track of this stuff. Like, I recognize that it's a huge moment and I recognize like how incredible it is. But I think that like when you're in the moment and you're in your career, you don't actually get a second to like think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm like, yeah, that was great. I have to rest because we leave tomorrow because we have to go to the Bay to play another game. Like it's been a long week. So on one hand, I'm like, that's really cool. But on the other hand, I'm like, I just want to like win games.
I know. I feel you on that. It was really cool, though, that Serena Williams tweeted at you.
I know. You know what the funniest thing is? I should just keep this joke going, but I've been reading people thinking that we're actually cousins.
Oh,
Somebody was like, oh, I was wondering if they were actually cousins. And then I looked at their legs and they're like, yeah, that's DNA. It runs in the family.
and you're the
Yeah,
cousin.
we're not related.
The cousin thing is because Serena tweeted, congrats, cuz, and people are taking that literally like, oh, are they cousins?
Yeah, because we have the same last name. But I'm like, I mean, sure, maybe some ancestors down the line or way back when. I don't know.
I mean, two of the greatest athletes of all time. You never know.
You never know. If somebody found out that we had some DNA, I would like that.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. Pretty cool for her, too.
Yeah, yeah. Mainly for her. Definitely for her.
So it sounds like you probably didn't really get a chance to celebrate this individual milestone because you are thinking about the team. But did you take a moment to like soak it all in at all?
Yeah, after the game, I went to go sign autographs and stuff. And I don't even think I like recognized it in that moment either until I was walking over and everybody was like cheering for me.
Oh.
So like that was very touching. And then when I went over to the spot that Marley was in, I told him to come down. We hugged and like I almost started crying.
Oh.
So that was really sweet. But other than that, like again, I just want to like win games. And I'm so happy that the goals are coming. Like obviously that's as a forward you want to score goals and as a competitor you want to win and score, but like I just think about all of them and I'm like I couldn't score any of the goals without teammates, and so I just want to win games so bad that if I have to score like and I get to score, that's amazing, but if I have to track back on defense and let somebody else score, like that's also amazing. I just want to win.
That's like so selfless of you. And of course you say that. I feel like a lot of what I've seen and what I've been thinking about you in particular is that you're 31 years old. You've been playing in this league. You were out one whole year with your hamstring last year. You were out a little bit at the beginning with another couple of injuries. You've been on the national team. Like the idea that you have the most goals out of anybody in this league ever is such a testament to you and just your, I feel like hard work and talent in front of goal. And I think that as somebody who, like, you went to the World Cup last summer, but you have gotten overlooked by the national team in the past. And I think what you've always done in response to that is scored goals for club. And like, you've always been so reliable in that way. And I think it just speaks volumes to you as a player and your value in this league, but also how valued you should be and are by the national team, because when things are hard, whenever things like aren't going your way, you respond by putting the ball in the back of the net.
Thanks. Yeah, I think I said this in the press conference because somebody was like, have you thought about your career or have a second to like look back and everything and the journey? And I think that everybody's going to say this, but the journey is never what you expect it to be. It's never just like this like steady uphill climb. Like there was definitely a lot of down moments and a lot of tears. But I said, I think I'm just like really proud of myself because I think I exceeded a lot of people's expectations of me, but I haven't exceeded my own expectations of myself. I think that when I look at me being able to score that many goals, like for me, it's not a shock at all. Like I've always believed in myself. I've always thought that I was a great goal scorer, that I'm a great soccer player. And if anything, especially like in moments where I haven't been on the national team or I haven't been told yes, it reminds me that like soccer is subjective. But if I believe in myself, it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. And that is what I'm most proud of when I see that I've scored 79 goals. It's that me, Lynn Williams, believed in myself. And then I surrounded myself with people that helped me even more in the times that like I maybe needed a push or maybe needed to cry a little bit or something, that they were like, no, Lynn, you are good. You're good enough. And then it just is another reminder that like, you're right, I am good enough. And I've always believed this. So I don't know if it's necessarily the goals. It's just more me being like, well, yeah, I knew I could do this all along.
Well, I am so proud of you and so happy for you. And I know there's so many more to come. And to a player like you, yes, of course, you should take a moment and enjoy setting this record. But I know that you'll keep pushing for more and that the most important thing to you is to help your team win games. So now the all-time leading scorer list is as follows. Lynn Williams at 79, Sam Kerr at 78, Christine Sinclair is at 76. And as far as we can tell, the Women's Super League in England's all-time leading scorer also has 79 goals. That's Vivian Miedema. So apparently now you're also in a race with her, Lynn.
Who knew? Not me.
I sure didn't know either. I know, but it's kind of crazy.
That is actually such a crazy stat.
I know.
Fun fact for the day.
Fun fact of the day. Exactly. Okay, so I want to go back and talk about your game, which was Sunday afternoon in New Jersey versus Mal Swanson's Chicago Red Stars. Coming into this game, I feel like Chicago is known right now for having a really dangerous counterattack. So, Lynn, how would you describe the style and approach that your team took going into this game?
Well, one, they have Sam Staub, who looks to hit Mal on counterattacks or hit the ball over the top. So our forward line had to get pressure on the ball, had to get their back line to not be so comfortable with time and space to do whatever they wanted to do. So that was first and foremost. And then the second was just being ourselves. Right now, we are the team that is letting in the least amount of goals. So it was working back on defense for each other, getting contact on the player, that don't let them just have a free run. But I think it all starts with our forward line and getting their back lines head down and not just letting them do anything that they wanted to with the ball.
Yeah, for sure. Are you saying, do you guys have the least goals against?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. And I feel like what you're saying is that defensive unit starts with your forwards, and you guys are taking a lot of pride in defending all over the field, not just at the back.
Yeah, I think that and we know this, but when people think of, oh, our forwards are just attackers and our defenders are just defenders, that's not how the game is right now. And it's not how the game is evolving. It's your forwards have to be able to defend and your back line needs to be able to attack, because your back line is the beginning of your attack. They're ones who start the buildup, and your forwards are your first line of defense. So just being able to be a whole unit when we're defending and back pressing, the ball goes over your head, you need to chase somebody back down, just not letting thinking, oh, it's not my responsibility. And I feel like our team has gotten really, really good at that.
Well, I was going to say, the idea that defenders need to be able to attack automatically makes me think of Jenna Neiswanger, who received a pass in like kind of a switch of the point of attack across the field for your first goal. Jenna received the ball out wide and sent in a great cross to Esther, who had this perfect one-touch cross back across to you. You were alone at the far post. You headed your way to the NWSL scoring record. And then, Lynn, in your post-match interview, they asked you for your approach in moments like that to scoring goals. Do you remember what you said?
I think I said something just put it in the goal or something like that. Is that what I said?
You see that big ball coming across towards a stair. Oh, what's your approach in the box?
Put it in the goal.
You make it sound so easy.
What a stupid answer.
I mean, it was like hilarious. You're like, lady, this is my job out here, lady. I'm putting it in there.
Well, I think I went on to say that, like, in those moments, I was so wide open. Like, I don't know how I found myself so wide open that your eyes just get big. And I feel like those are easier to put over than actually in. Because you don't focus on your technique and you're just like, I just need to boop this. And then you boop it over. So I said, Lynn, focus. And I think that that's exactly what happened. Everybody keeps talking about 79 goals. And I keep talking about that one I missed that Ella just passed it right on the top of the six and I swung and missed. Like, those are the things where my eyes got so big. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just need to tap this in. And then literally she megged me. I megged myself.
You megged yourself.
So I think those are what I think in the moment. I'm like, just put it in the goal. Like, you don't need to do anything crazy. Just focus.
Right. That's fair enough. But
What a lunatic answer, though.
It was hilarious of you. And what a great touch across the goal from Esther. Like,
I know.
Picked you right out. Also, what a great ball from Jenna Nicewanger all the way across the goal. Overall, like, just such a great build-up play from you guys. But after about 15 minutes, Chicago found their own goal through Penelope Hawking, who has scored for them in the last 3 games. It was a set piece that led to a header. Gotham keeper Ann-Katrin Berger, who saved the first, couldn't stop the second. Hawking gets it in, smashes it into the net. So now it's 1-1. And Lynn, there's this record-breaking game for you. You can't have that ending in a draw. So how do you adjust? How does your team adjust?
Yeah, I think that we knew we were all over them the whole game, really. And especially going into halftime, we were disappointed we didn't put one away. And so coming out, getting the goal, and then getting a goal scored on us, not immediately after, but what felt like, oh, that sucks because we should have put our chances away in the beginning. I got excited knowing when we were making subs, looking at the people that were coming on as well, just knowing how deep our bench is. I was like, okay, we're going to just keep pushing. We're going to get one. We just need one opportunity because we were still all over them. That game started to open up a little bit more even. And I think there's just like a belief in the team right now of we are fighters. We can dig deep and we're going to get a goal back. And so to have Ella score on the header against her old team and just knowing Ella, it was like an incredible moment.
Yeah, so this is Ella Stevens, who scored this huge header to make the game 2-1 off of last year's Rookie of the Year. Jenna Nicewanger again crosses in this deep ball. She finds Ella Stevens. Ella Stevens' celebration was to kiss her badge a bunch of times, seemingly being like, I'm on Gotham now. I love it here. Like, here I am scoring a game-winning goal. Did you talk to Ella after this moment? Like, how did you feel for her?
Yeah, I didn't talk to her about that. I don't even think I realized in the moment that she was kissing her badge because I was so focused on Brunina, who somehow got a phone, got a cell phone. And I was like, where did you get that? Like, how are you taking a selfie right now, bro? Like, how do you have a phone? So I was like so put off by that I didn't even get a moment to like talk to Ella. But after the game, I just said, I'm like so proud of you. And she was like smiling and she was like, I'm proud of you too. And then we went about our day. But Ella works so hard in training. She puts her head down every single day and she is always there early, just like with headphones on, kicking the ball around, doing her own thing on the side, getting her feels in. And so to see her just being able to have those moments last game and this game, it's really incredible.
That is incredible. I did want to touch quickly on this Brunina thing. So the video that she took is now like making its rounds. Like whoever's phone it was has posted it. So Ella scores the goal. Brunina runs to the end line, grabs, must have been a media person or a fan's phone, and is on video and runs it back and like takes this little selfie video with Ella, and I think Esther is in it. And then the phone finds its way back to the person. Like, was everybody on the team just like, what is happening?
Yeah, well, so we're celebrating. We're all in a huddle. And then all of a sudden we start walking back like it's time to play again. And me and Delaney look over and we're like, where did she get that phone? And then I see them take a selfie. And then I walk back. I'm like, that was so funny to me. I was like, so bizarre, but also hilarious.
Hilarious.
That you thought to do that. But I was like, we gotta go.
This is just more player-made content, which I am so here for.
Yeah.
Okay, Lynn, so 3 points for Gotham. You set a record. Decent little Sunday right before your birthday.
Yeah, great birthday present. From Gotham to me.
From Gotham to Lynn. So big picture, Gotham are undefeated in the last 5 games. Rose Lavelle is back starting. You're scoring goals. It seems like your team is really starting to click and find your form, especially with all these new additions to the squad. How is that feeling for you guys as a team, and what's next for the Gotham girls?
Yeah, I think it feels great. I think that even though first of all, this is our first game scoring more than 1 goal, so that's a positive. I think that we are a little disappointed in the sense that we didn't score more goals, but it looks like it's starting to click offensively. I think that we are just excited about continuing to hopefully keep more clean sheets, but being tight on defense, but also moving forward. How can we pick the right moment? How can we get more opportunities on goals, more shots, and just continue to build relationships and connect? Obviously, there's going to be the FIFA window coming up, so we're going to hit a pause, but it's just about building when everybody is away and then also coming back together when everybody's back together. So I just think we're finally just clicking. Like it's just going to take, it takes a second, you know?
Well, everybody else is shaking in their boots at the thought of Gotham clicking. But one more fun piece of news for Gotham. They will be lining up against WSL winners Chelsea this summer, August 19th at Red Bull Arena when everybody's back from the Olympics. The Brits are coming to town. Lynn, how exciting is it to have a friendly like this on the calendar?
It's so exciting. I think it was like a bit of a shock at first when we heard, we were like, wait, what? But I always loved, like when we had the ICC.
That was the tournament when we were in North Carolina and we played against Lyon and Man City in 2019.
Correct. And then it was also in 2018, it was PSG Lyon.
Right.
I believe.
Yep.
But I always think it's really cool when we can see international club play. It's like two different styles of soccer coming together, being able to go head to head and put on display which style of soccer we think is best, obviously. And I think it's also just an exciting opponent because it's not your normal. Like somebody like myself who's been in the league for 10 years, you're like, I've played this team. I played Chicago 1 million times. I want to play a different opponent. And so being able to play Chelsea, I think will be very exciting for the league to see how we match up with them. And everybody come out and watch.
I know.
Tune in.
In that same vein, FIFA did just announce the inaugural Club World Cup will start in 2026. It's going to be in January and February of 2026. So that's another really exciting one of these like club international opportunities to see new teams that, I mean, teams in the NWSL have hardly faced foreign clubs.
Yeah.
So I think it's just another really cool and incredible event to look forward to, hopefully.
Yeah. And just to get more hardware, I think
Yeah.
in the WSL, like there's so many different trophies you can win. And then NWSL, we are adding more and more. And it's, who doesn't love winning a lot of trophies? So the more we can add properly with the infrastructure building with it.
What a perfect little caveat in there. More to come about the FIFA Club World Cup in an upcoming episode. It is very cool, and some might say that it is cool like the other side of the pillow.
Oh, no. Keep going. Just move on. We're just going to move on from that.
Let's get into the other NWSL matches, starting with Saturday night. Saturday night was like literally how NWSL After Dark got its name. NWSL After Dark, if you don't know, is just like when there's a nighttime game and it's getting late and it's going crazy out there. Is that right?
And it's mayhem.
Yeah. So this Spirit Angel City game, Spirit ended up winning 4-2. We saw Sydney Leroux become the first player to score at least 5 goals for 5 different NWSL teams: Boston, Seattle, Kansas City, Orlando, and Angel City. Obviously now she's on Angel City. They lost this game. All 6 goals came within the first 36 minutes of the game. So it just started getting real hot out there, real heated. We saw a brace from Trinity Rodman. Croy Bethune continued to Croy Bethune. If you're keeping up, she set up multiple goals for the Spirit, and she's quickly becoming a key piece of their success and one of the best players in the NWSL so far this year. Trinity, Croy, and Ule Sar were out there like Bubbles, Blossom, and Buttercup. Just real.
Wow.
You got that one, Lynn.
Yeah, the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah. Just really knocking over teams with their powers combined. Another part of this match that was interesting and not great to see, there were multiple injuries. Sarah Gordon and Ule Sar both went down with injuries, and this added 18 total minutes of stoppage time to the game. And if you do the math, that's 20% longer than a 90-minute game.
What?
I just feel like that's too long.
That's crazy. I don't want to say anything bad, but like VAR has been getting out of control in the amount of stoppage time that has been added to games. Like, I don't know why this is happening, but it's almost like it's getting longer than at the beginning of the year, and the beginning was even too long.
I don't know the answer to this, but 20% longer game is, there are negative repercussions to that, I feel like. And I just think we got to figure out what the answer is there because it seems really long. But I did want to mention that ESPN and Equalizer's Jeff Kassouf reported that the field might have been in bad shape for this game and that maybe contributed to some of the injuries. He said that there were clear signs of wear and tear from the UFL football game there last Sunday, followed by a DC United game on Wednesday. And that's not like more bad news for Audi Field is that there's also a USL team set to start playing there in August. So just the wear and tear on this field seems a little bit foreboding. And Lynn, I was hoping that you could just speak quickly to what it's like playing on a field that maybe has just recently been torn up by a couple of other games and isn't really up to standard.
I think when you rely on a pitch for the ball to move smoothly, it gets hard when there's divots and for some reason you're slipping and the ground is giving way and there's like a multitude of reasons why you need a good pitch. And I think that the most damaging piece is the injuries. Like at the end of the day, it's yes, as a fan or a spectator or a coach even or a teammate, you can say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. But at the end of the day, these are our careers. It's our bodies that are on the line. Like you need your body to be able to play and make an income and have a successful long career. And I think the bare minimum is having a nice pitch to be able to play on. So it's like really, it like breaks my heart and it's sad to see like so many players getting injured in that game and also like the amount of players that were slipping.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fix is. Obviously, there's probably contracts in place and stuff, but I just, can we get a nice field?
I just think you're right. From a player perspective, like, not only does it affect the quality of the game, like the ball is bobbling and passes might go out of bounds or it's moving slower or whatever, but when it's borderline unsafe, that's something that the organizations in charge have a responsibility to control for. So with the addition of even another team starting to use this field, I think that's something that probably needs to be addressed in just the maintenance of the field and scheduling in a way that is prioritizing quality surface and safety.
Yeah, I'm not saying that in no world can a field have this many teams played on it, but it is apparent that Audi Field itself cannot. So I think that is the biggest thing that, okay, sure, if you have the ability to put 4 teams on there and you guys can continue to keep the grass and the pitch smooth and perfect condition, great, do it. But that wasn't the case. That's not the case. So I don't think you can just continue to say, oh, it's fine. Just keep playing.
Yeah.
It's a safety issue.
I know. We'll keep an eye on that one for sure. The Kansas City-Louisville game was another wild game. It was a 3-3 tie. Just absolute recess out there, if you know what I mean, Lynn.
Did you like recess?
Yeah, I don't really remember that much about recess except for that the kid's name was TJ.
And that they were at recess the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't one of my favorites, but I think my sister used to watch it all the time. And you know, when you're like younger, you just have to watch what your older siblings watch.
Do I ever? My freaking sister used to watch this stupid movie all the time called Ella Enchanted.
Oh, yeah.
And I hated it so much. She would watch it like once a week when we were like too old to be watching that movie. Okay, anyways, recess aside. There were a ton of goals in this Kansas City-Louisville game, including a upper 90 dime penalty by Lola Bonta with a twist on the classic baby celebration. She like put the ball under her shirt and she was sucking her thumb. Lynn, did you see that?
Yes, I did.
What does that mean?
Well, I know on her Instagram, her name is Lo Mama, but I think she tweeted or something or put on her Instagram that her husband, Roger, was like, does this mean we're pregnant? Like, is this a pregnancy announcement?
It isn't that, is it?
No, I think he was also confused. So I'm assuming because her name on Instagram is Lo Mama, she was like, I am the mother of this team, I guess.
Well, the other thing that I saw on Twitter was that it was the baby and KC baby. But
that is a twist. That is a play on words, if you will.
Yeah, I don't know the actual answer. We're going to have to ask her and get a firm answer out of this because it was so funny. But I was like, what? Somebody tell me the story. I don't get it. There were some crazy stats coming out of this game. Kansas City now has had 14 different people score goals so far this season, which is a lot. It actually tied an NWSL record, and we're only not even halfway through the season. And then Louisville became the first team to get a point at the new Kansas City Stadium. And then again, we saw in the 13th minute of stoppage time, Savannah Demelo strikes again, hero of the game. That's 2 goals in 2 games. I know a few weeks ago, we actually Olipop gut checked who would Savannah Demelo their way into the Olympics. And maybe Savannah Demelo her way into the Olympics.
Only Savannah Demelo can.
How many times can you say Savannah Demelo in 30 seconds?
We should start calling that a Savannah Demelo.
Making a roster at the last minute?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you just Savannah Demelo'd.
Yeah, I exactly.
We'll find out.
We could actually apply that to more than just making a roster at the last minute. It could be like anything at the last minute.
Anything, yeah. Anything incredible that you're doing at the last minute, that's called a Savannah Demelo.
Yeah, like me all of a sudden building a fire pit. Like we just like Savannah Demelo the fire pit. Like kind of like.
Yeah, that's crazy of you guys. huge Savannah Demelo. I'm trying to think of something for me, but I can't right now.
Well, you'll probably just like Savannah Demelo your way to dinner and figure out what you want to get and just get it.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on. Another weird, wild game. Seattle and Orlando. Orlando won 3-2. The story coming out of this hard-fought battle was two people, Barbara Banda, and Seb Hines. So we already know Barbara Banda, Zambian international, who since coming to the NWSL has scored 6 goals and gotten 2 assists in just 5 starts. The other name is one you might not know as well yet. It's Seb Hines, the Orlando Pride head coach. If this is Dexter's laboratory, Banda might be DD out there wreaking havoc, but Seb is Dexter, behind the scenes planning world domination for the Orlando Pride.
I liked that one. My sister used to love Dexter's Laboratory.
Dexter's Laboratory was so weird.
It was so weird, and he would always go, DD.
Yeah.
Get out of my laboratory. But it was so weird, but I watched it again.
It was so weird. But in this case, Dexter and DD are working very closely together in the laboratory. So Seb Hines, again, this is Orlando's head coach. He became their head coach in 2022 after working as an assistant there since 2020. He has helped lead Orlando to 7 straight wins. They're at the top of the table. They have an attacking style that allows for such free-flowing goals. Obviously, Barbara Banda is helping a lot with that, but they're undefeated. And Lynn, there are like different coaching styles. Like sometimes a coach is just a tactical wizard or witch. And other times the coach is really there as like a motivational piece. It's just somebody that the team knows and loves and rallies around all the time. So when you're on a team with a coach like Seb Hines, who has great tactical sensibilities, versus a coach who may not be as tactically driven, but is a motivational person up there, what do you think the differences are to that? And do you think it translates to wins and losses?
That's an interesting question. I think that if you have somebody who is a great tactician, obviously you're going to be able to know what to implement, but sometimes there's great tacticians that can't teach. And so I think that when you're able to do both, like I think you have to have the ability to actually do both of these things at one time. You need to be able to motivate your team and get them all on the same page, but you then also need to know who to put where and what sub needs to be made and all of those things. It's really cool to see what Seb is doing because Seb, like I know him personally.
Just to note, Lynn and I don't know him, nor have we ever played for him, but we're just assuming he's a great coach.
Yeah. You know, good Seb, good old Seb.
You know Seb.
What it seems like he's been able to do is light a fire, light a confidence within the team, but also I like to think that like at this level, there's nothing, I'm still learning, but there's not like, you're not going to teach me like a whole new style of play, or you're not going to like, I'm not going to be learning that much. You're just going to be honing in on what I do well. Like what does Lynn Williams bring to the game? And then how does that translate, or how can that be cohesive with what Esther brings to the game, for example? And so it looks like what he's been able to do at Orlando is saying like, okay, these are all of the qualities we have on the pitch, and how are they going to be able to connect with each other instead of trying to force people into positions that they might not be playing that well, or they don't fit that role. And so it's been actually really cool to watch. And also I think just historically knowing Orlando's history and having underperformed, it's like, it's so mind-blowing to me, like in a good way.
I completely agree. They're at the top of the table, and every time I see it, I'm like, all right, like go ahead, Orlando. Like it's such a new thing to see. And I was just going to add about the coaching piece. Like, I think it's the chemistry and the energy that the coach creates within the team. Like when somebody makes a mistake on film, do they want to own up to that? Or do they want to like create an excuse so that they don't get in trouble? And I think that the coach sets an expectation for how players act around each other and act in front of the staff and respond to mistakes that can kind of like be cultivated into having really good energy amongst your locker room, or be like really questioning and like kind of always like doubting a teammate or the coach or whatever. And so it appears to me that Orlando has found that chemistry between the players and the staff.
Yeah, like some buy-in.
Yeah.
I think that you have to have buy-in to be successful.
Yeah.
And I completely agree. I think I think it is the coach's responsibility to create a culture of vulnerability. So like you said, of when I'm watching film, can I put my hand up and say, I'm so sorry, that was my fault,
Right.
and feel comfortable doing that? Or can I say, this is what I was thinking, and be able to do that in a setting that, yeah, nobody wants to make a mistake, but you're doing it in front of your entire team, and I'm comfortable enough to do that. Or like you said, I'm just going to hide and I
Right.
don't want to be on the film. I'm not going to ask a question. And I don't think that that is going to help a team ever, because nobody's learning then.
Right.
Because, and I know you do this, but like I try to watch film as if it's anybody. It's not myself.
Mm.
And so I'm like, okay, if me, Lynn, is doing this wrong, it's going to actually teach anybody who's in my position, don't do that.
Right.
Or if I'm doing it right, it's going to say, okay, this is what I need to do to be in that position. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that they've done that. It's so cool to see.
I know. It's great. It's awesome to see. So Seb Hines, Orlando, definitely doing a great job. Another thing coming out of this game that I wanted to discuss were some weird fouls and card situations. There was this bad foul from Alana Cook against Barbara Bandit that got called a yellow. But I know a few other people maybe out there in the old world, thought maybe it should have been a red. Alana was chasing Barbara Bandit down and kind of tackled her from the side and like wrapped her leg a little bit and like definitely got her studs up around Barbara Bandit's stomach. Barbara Bandit went down. I mean, obviously, we're not the ref, but it was like definitely a weird one.
Yeah, I think that it was a crazy tackle. I think everybody can agree on that.
Yeah.
I think that like when you're looking, is it red? Is it yellow? I think that refs are always going to go more towards a yellow than a red, I would assume, because they're not going to want to make a game-changing decision. But anytime that you're kicking somebody in the stomach with your studs is kind of a not great.
Let's just chalk it up. It was definitely a crazy tackle. We'll leave it at that. But Bethany Bosser, who did score a really great goal in this game from a perfect pass from Jess Fishlock that sent her through. She finished at top corner. It was beautiful. She got sent off with 2 yellows. So Seattle is just like kind of having a tough run. There's another loss. And coming up, they have 2 games on the road. First in DC, then in KC, followed by a home match against Portland, which honestly does not sound like a fun 3 games when you're struggling. So what should Seattle do in this situation? Just kind of take a deep breath and trust the process?
I feel for them, first of all.
It's tough.
I think that when you start to go down this like losing path, you could do things in the game that like are uncharacteristic of yourself, because you're like, we have to win. So then you're like, you're pushing more, or you're somebody who's like, I need to take this shot because we have to score, instead of just playing like your normal self. And so I think I would just tell them to like, just take one game at a time. What's happened in the past, you can't change that. And don't look 3 games ahead. Don't look good 2 games ahead. Look at this one moment. What can you do right now as a team? What small things you can do that are like actual foreseeable and like controllable things, but also tangible. Like, don't try to fix all of the problems at one time. Fix 1 or 2.
Just complete a pass.
Yeah. Just fix 1 or 2 things that will then start to have like a positive impact going forward. I think that right now, I'm assuming to them, it feels like they're climbing a mountain. And I'm like, you don't have to make it a mountain. Just narrow it back down and do 1 game at a time.
When you do what you're saying, like when you get emotionally wrapped up in the larger story, every bad pass feels like, well, we're just going to lose again. And it's like, no, it was 1 bad pass. It might not affect the outcome of the game at all. And you like turn these little molehills into mountains.
Exactly. They need a mole mountain.
They just need a molehill to be a molehill.
Exactly.
And then they'll go sledding down the other side.
Yeah.
Anyways.
In the spring, because winter's over.
Precisely. Anyways, elsewhere in the NWSL, North Carolina beat Utah, hopefully turning that ship around. Bay beat San Diego 2-1 thanks to some late magic from Rachel Kundananji that led to a Wave own goal. And after talking to me the other week about how bad rain delays are, poor little Becky Sauerbrunn had another rain delay in a wild game in Houston. They ended up beating the Dash 2-0. It's time to do the best part of this whole podcast, the Olipop gut check of the week. It's brought to you by our besties over at Olipop. Old Lynn Williams has a strawberry vanilla going. Slurp, slurp, slurp. This week we had Gotham's Ella Stevens scored the winning goal against her former club, Chicago. We saw it last week when Paige Nielsen did it against Angel City. So, Lynn, this is what I want to do for the gut check. I want to rank where scoring the winner versus your former club ranks in the hierarchy of goals from this weekend. So, we have a list of some of the best goals from this weekend, like Ella Stevens scoring the winner against her former club, Michelle Cooper scoring this nice upper 90 goal for Kansas City, Lola Bonta's penalty kick, Bethany Balcer's breakaway finish, Trinity Rodman got a brace, Sydney Leroux scored 5 goals for 5 different clubs, and then a Lynn Williams header, but it happens to be the NWSL all-time scoring record. Which of these, Lynn, is the best?
I'm not biased or anything. So I'm going to just say myself.
Yeah, breaking the NWSL all-time scoring record, best goal.
Yeah, I would have to say best milestone goal, best feeling goal.
Mm-hmm.
I've done all those things pretty much besides the laser penalty and the 5 goals for 5 different clubs.
Well, so let's rank the other ones then. Where would you rank scoring against your own former club? Next?
That's pretty high. Yeah,
pretty high.
That's high.
I agree.
Especially if you're not leaving on great terms.
Very true. So what else? We have an upper 90 goal, incredible finish on a breakaway, and a brace.
Ooh, I'm going to say upper 90.
Yep.
I'm going to say a breakaway, and then I'm going to say a brace.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like I'm going to say brace, and then I'm going to say breakaway.
I was going to say 2 goals is better than 1, Lynn.
I know, but sometimes with breakaways, you're like, this should be so easy, and it's just really not.
I know. Well, same. I was going to say that about penalties, because sometimes those penalties will really just leave you not sleeping the night before. You know what I mean?
Don't I know?
But
so I don't even know what order that was, but you guys can maybe work that out.
Somebody will figure it out. We didn't really give enough love to Sydney Leroux. 5 goals, 5 different clubs. That's pretty incredible.
That's incredible.
It's incredible.
That's like consistency.
Yeah, and her goal this weekend was great. It was a great header finish, but nobody really can beat the all-time NWSL scoring record.
No, we're not biased.
So that's our Olipop gut check of the week. Congratulations to Lynn Williams.
Let's try to cheers.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, tink.
Oh,
you were so late.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, tink. Let's take it over to jolly old London town, where after sighing in what seemed like defeat just 3 weeks ago with a loss to Liverpool, Chelsea turned it around with 3 straight wins. One was 8-0, and Saturday's was 6-0 to top Man City on goal difference and win the Women's Super League. Emma Hayes, now officially no longer future U.S. Women's National Team manager, but just U.S. Women's National Team manager, won one last piece of silverware on her way out. Her comments were this: I can't say it was my most enjoyable title, but it's been the toughest without doubt, and for that reason, probably the sweetest. So it was Emma's 5th title in a row with Chelsea, a truly insane run. Basically, Chelsea have just been like The Simpsons. They're just going on and on forever, constantly being the best.
Did you watch The Simpsons?
Not really, no. I wasn't really allowed to watch it. That's so embarrassing to say, but I wasn't really allowed to watch it.
I was. So you're lame.
I would say that South Park has also been going on and on forever and also constantly being the best. And sometimes I do watch South Park, so.
What about Family Guy?
I like Family Guy too. I haven't watched that in a while, though.
Okay.
You know what other random cartoon, just real quickly, Pat watches sometimes, is Rick and Morty. Do you ever watch that?
Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty. Yeah.
Okay, anyways, back to Chelsea. This final game finished 6-0 over Manchester United, who just a few weeks before had beaten them in the FA Cup semifinal, which Manchester United went on to win. The scoring kicked off in the 8th minute, and there was no slowing down for Chelsea. Fran Kirby also scored an emotional goal as she is set to leave Chelsea now that the season has ended after 9 years with the club. Kirby still has not revealed where she'll play next. But meanwhile, across town in Manchester, Man City stayed level on points, but couldn't equal Chelsea's insane new goal differential without their leading scorer, Bunny Shaw, who they lost to injury a few weeks ago. City ended up beating Aston Villa 2-1 and finished the season 2nd. Tied on points, but 7 goals shy of Chelsea. Emma Hayes ended her press conference in epic fashion. She said, "See you guys at some point, maybe at an Olympic gold medal final. I have to go and fucking beat the Spanish at some point." Everybody in the press conference room laughed, much like they did when I was in your press conference room, Lynn. For you, Lynn, how exciting is it to get a manager like Emma? And does it really feel real now that Chelsea have finished the season?
Yeah, I feel like there's just been so much talk, so much waiting around that I think it's just going to be exciting to get all together for once and just. I know like the Olympics is right around the corner. It's not that much time, but just finally, it just is like, oh my gosh, finally we're all together again. I'm really happy that Emma, but also Chelsea was able to go out with a bang. I'm assuming they have had an up and down kind of season and obviously have fallen short of a lot of the goals that they have set. So I think to be able to leave on a high, both of her and the club to part ways on that high note, and also knowing now she's coming and like I said, just to be all together, I think it's like the best way you can leave and join another place.
Yeah. And I just feel like I was happy for Chelsea and for Emma because now I feel like she's coming to the U.S. women's national team with confidence and kind of coming off a win. I think if you came after like such a devastating series of events, it would have been kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm a little bit like nervous and like upset about this.
Yeah.
The thing I'm most excited to see Emma with the U.S. women's national team for is all I ever hear about her is that she's just like such a winner and that she just loves winning. And when I heard that about her, and then knowing what I know about the U.S. women's national team, I'm like, there is no more perfect pairing of like coach and team than like people who are obsessed with winning. So I just am so excited for the national team to get that from Emma and to share in this obsession with winning. And hopefully we'll see it carry out at the Olympics.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. Dun, dun, dun. One last point on Emma. Her post-match press conference, she also had this to say about investment in women's soccer.
I hate naysayers. I can remember even when I used to say some of these things, so many people in the women's game, oh, it's unrealistic. It's going to collapse. It can't sustain it. You can't invest this money. And I always think the same thing. Why are we always so negative about investing in women? People say to me, you have the biggest budget. I'm like, you should pat me on the back. You should say, well done for paying women properly. Why do you always use it as a negative situation? And I've always felt really strongly about women and championing that and giving opportunity and leaving it in the place that I dreamed about seeing.
Yeah, that was like really cool to see, especially thinking about how she took Chelsea from like a new club and built this team up into the perennial winners that they are.
Yeah, I think that I mean, yeah, the naysayers are right. If you continue to be negative about it and you continue to not invest, of course, nothing will happen. But if you change your mindset and you get on board and you put the same investment and you put the same passion that you would put into a men's sports, of course, women's sports are going to thrive. And so I couldn't agree more. I hate when people say that as well. I'm like, why can't you be optimistic? Why can't you be positive? Why do you have to be so pessimistic? So I think that like women's sports, women's soccer, have exceeded, again, expectations of the other people, but not of women's soccer players. We're like, yeah, of course, we told you this. If you just invest, we told you this was going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. We told you that the fans love this. We told you they were really engaged. We told you they'd buy tickets. We told you they'd buy jerseys. And then as soon as people get on board with that, they're like, oh, look, we did it. And we're like, all right.
No, you didn't do it. We've been telling you. Get on board.
Okay, well, hopefully you are not. But if you are like Patrick Starr and you've been living under a rock, I'm excited to tell you that the Champions League final is taking place this upcoming Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. It's kicking off in Bilbao, and it is available to watch on DAZN for free. It's a clash of the friggin' Titans. Lyon are 8-time European champions, and they have won it 6 times in the last 8 years, and they are fresh coming off a French league title. However, Barcelona have won 2 of the last 3 Champions Leagues. They're the reigning champions. And naturally, they also won their domestic league, undefeated the entire season. Talk about a clash of the Titans.
First of all, was it you who made up that joke?
The Patrick Starr joke? Yes, you know that's my go-to cartoon joke.
I know, but was it you who made it up in the car, or did you steal that?
No, I freaking originally made up that joke in the car with Carrie Riccaro.
Yeah, that was like the best joke you've ever said.
I know.
Okay, sorry.
I have been keeping that joke. If anybody doesn't know what we're talking about the Patrick Starr joke that I made where you say, are you Patrick Starr? Have you been living under a rock? Samantha Mewis original. I'm not saying nobody else has ever thought of that because I do think that it's kind of like the obvious joke in SpongeBob.
Obviously.
But I've been keeping that joke in my back pocket. You're welcome, Good Vibes listeners. There is more where that came from. Back to Champions League. It's like Goliath versus Goliath out there. We are going to get to watch players like Lindsay Horan, Danielle Vanderdonk, and Wendy Renard take on Aitana Bonmati, Lucy Bronze, and Fridolina Rolfo. Speaking of Danielle Vanderdonk, she is actually our guest this week on Friendly. So we're going to do a deep dive with her into Lyon's preparation for this Champions League final. Plus, I asked her for like way too long about her battle with Lyon teammate Lindsay Horan at last summer's World Cup and the whole swim cap situation. That episode is dropping on Thursday, and it is available on this podcast feed, and it's also available on our YouTube channel. Let's go to the inbox really quickly, Lynn. We got an email from Susie D, and she wants to know, it's officially summer wedding season when most of us normies spend all of our money gifting monogrammed towel sets and figuring out what beach black tie means. I have no idea what that means. But
me neither.
Wedding season looks pretty different for the NWSL. What's it like cramming so many celebrations into your few months off? Are there pros and cons to all of those December and January weddings? And Lynn, how hard is it to plan a wedding while in the thick of training and games?
Okay, let's go with the cons first. Cons, everybody has the same anniversary.
That is true, Lynn. I have the same anniversary as 80 French.
I know. Everybody's going to have the same anniversary or around the same time. Another con, but also could be a positive, is if you are a guest to the wedding, like you could be going to 5 different weddings, 6 different weddings in a very condensed period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. That's just saying.
I think it's both.
A reality.
It's a little too much fun, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like you're going to need to rest afterwards. You're going to need to lay down. And you're going to need to start a savings account again.
True.
Oh, another con is like planning. It's like a lot of the time you don't get to go see your venue. You don't get to meet with your vendors in person. You're like doing everything from afar. And it's not like you can just like pop down for a weekend because like I have a game. I'm so sorry that you're way over there. So a lot of people have wedding planners. I am a crazy person. I do not have a wedding planner. You're looking at her. And I'm also doing 2. So that's double crazy.
I have 2 dresses for Lynn's 2 weddings.
Exactly. And then you put stress on all of your bridesmaids and bridal parties.
Oh my God, I'm not stressed at all. I am going to treat this like it's my wedding.
Good. That's exactly what I wanted.
And I'm going to marry Marley.
Nope. Pat's not going to be happy about that. And I'm not going to be happy about that.
Well, I would also marry you.
Great. It will be a quadruple. A quadruple. That's it. A quadruple. Anyway, we're going to go back to the question. It's exciting, but it's like stressful, obviously. I think that when no, not obviously. I think it depending on what kind of person you are, just like any other bride. It's like if you are like a more type A, sure, it's stressful. If you're like more laid back, it's not that stressful. I don't know. Yeah. Weddings are weddings, but they're just condensed in a very packed time.
Yeah, they are definitely condensed, which, it's funny because you're right to ask this, Susie. All normal people are going to all their weddings like right now, May, June, July, August. But I don't have any weddings coming up. All my friends are getting married in December and January.
That's the thing, too. I feel like some people are like, okay, like maybe I could have a wedding. Say you're not going to the Olympics and we have this like week break. You're like, yeah, I could have a wedding there, but I don't have any friends that could come.
No.
So even
you'd be getting a lot of RSVP no's.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want a smaller wedding, sure.
Your wedding would cost $45.
And maybe some people want that. I don't know if I answered the question.
Well, I think we have to move on. We could just keep doing this until the cows come home.
Oh, you guys want to talk about my wedding more? Okay.
I'm sure they do. So send us some more wedding questions if you want. You can email us. That's womensgamemib@menandblazers.com. Send us in a wedding question if that's what you really want to know about. I sure would love to talk about that. That's it for this episode, Lynn. We have to leave our beautiful, beautiful listeners, but we get to leave them with a good vibe. So,
yes.
What do you want to leave them with?
My good vibe is spring is finally here, at least here in New Jersey. And so I have been going and getting flowers and just putting them around the house in each room. And that just brings me so much joy in the morning. And when I at nighttime, I look and I'm like, oh my gosh, my flowers look beautiful. So I think everybody should just go get some flowers.
Florals for spring. Groundbreaking. Do you know what that's from?
No.
It's from The Devil Wears Prada. It's not a cartoon, but it's okay.
You're welcome.
That's beautiful, Lynn. I love that for you. My good vibe is just the freaking pride of a job well done. Get out there and build yourself a fire pit, manual labor, sweat a little bit, and then you'll just be like, I did that.
I Savannah Demelo-ed.
I Savannah Demelo-ed that fire pit, and it felt really, really good.
Doesn't matter if the backside is lopsided.
Savannah Demelo, that is not Savannah Demelo. She is not lopsided. She is just a beautiful, hardworking, talented player.
Yeah, I was talking about your fire pit.
I know. All right, we gotta go. That's it for this week's episode of Good Vibes FC. I really hope that you're subscribed to this podcast feed. If not, you can do it right now, you little cardamom bun. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we're all over social media at Women's Game MIB. Don't forget, this Thursday we have an interview with Danielle Vanderdonk. You will not want to miss it. All right, everybody. That's it. Goodbye.
Goodbye. I'm Beavis.
And I'm Butthead. But in reality,
I'm Lynn Williams.
And I'm Sam Lewis. And this is Good Vibes FC, the podcast that's, yes, it's like Beavis and Butthead, but it's also like Rocket Power because... Woogity, 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 woogity.